South Carolina and the world in 1960. Still, in 1960, the Vietnam War raged on. As the war was going on, Martin Luther King Jr. gave his "I Had a Dream" speech. But in 1957, the space race had started. NASA was racing against the Russians on getting the people into space and on the moon. Here is a picture of a rocket on a launch pad that is getting ready to take off at NASA. And this is Mission Control. Now let's take a moment to remember the ones who died on Apollo the 1st, January 27, 1967. Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee. NASA was determined to get these people into space, so Apollo 11, they succeeded their dream.
12, 11, 10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, all engine running. Liftoff, we have a liftoff, 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
And on July 16th, 1969, Apollo 11 landed on the moon.
Contact light. Okay, engine stop. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a... I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Neil Armstrong and his crew had finally landed on the moon and placed the American flag on the moon's surface. NASA had many types of space shuttles that they had trial and error launching into space. Here are some of the rockets that they try to launch into space. They are called the Mercury rockets. Also, Professor Hubble created the Hubble telescope that revolves around the Earth. NASA also had created these spacesuits to help the astronauts breathe into space. In the 1960s, the twist was the most popular dance in South Carolina. Later in the 1960s, bright, colorful clothing had come out. The most popular music in the 1960s was psychedelic, folk rock, and pop. And one of the bands is Rolling Stones. And that was part of the Rolling Stones' #1 hit called Start Me Up. One of the famous artists in the 1960s was Andy Warhol. Robert McNair was governor of South Carolina. He was in office until he died of cancer at the age of 60. In 1960, there was a presidential election. John Kennedy had 198,129, and Richard Nixon had 188,558 votes in South Carolina. And in 1965, Malcolm X was killed. Also in 1965, the Voting Rights Act was passed.
Oh, Father dear, well, I've often heard you speak of Aaron's Isle. her lofty scenes, her valleys green.